Okay, so I want to stress before we get this video underway that, on its own, this kind of news isn't really news. It's something that happens quite often, and for the most part, there usually aren't any bigger implications behind the idea of an NHL player changing representations and getting a new agent. It just happens. It's a thing that NHL players do, especially before a big contract extension because they want to get the maximum profit available. So when we saw Dylan Larkin yesterday change his agent representation, it wasn't really seen by many people, myself included, as that big of a deal. However, we're making a video about this today. And the reason we're making a video about it is because of some other things that happened which were not expected. But before we get underway with all that, let's go over Dylan Larkin first and foremost, talk about why he might have wanted to change agents at this time. He's a guy that has been the Red Wings' pretty much prime mover of the bus, I guess you could say, the past few years. He is the captain of the Wings. He had 69 points in 71 games the previous season, a very nice amount of points. And he's a guy making $6.1 million until the end of 2023. He will be a UFA by the time this contract expires, so this is a guy that is due for a pay raise. As a 25-year-old player who has been in the NHL for a while and, as we noted, is a pretty good Red Wing, it would be a fair assumption to make to say that Dylan Larkin, on his next contract, is going to get paid. Which is why we had the news yesterday from Max Bultman that, hey, Dylan Larkin has switched his representatives to Matt Williams, Pat Brisson, and CAA. Larkin will be eligible for a contract extension this summer. Now, CAA, Pat Brisson, Matt Williams, you probably are familiar with these names because for Pat Brisson specifically, there are so many players that are under this agency bubble that are making an extraordinary amount of money. John Tavares, 11 million AAV. Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, 10.5 each AAV. Anze Kopitar, 10 million. Sidney Crosby, 8.7 million. Okay, there's the branding right there. Claude Giroux, 8.275 million. Matt Duchene, 8 million. Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, 7.8 and 7.3 million each. Cam Fowler, Nathan McKinnon, Eric Johnson, Pat Brisson, and the CAA crew are guys that have had experience, and they've accrued a lot of money for their clients and for themselves too, because, you know, the agent gets a cut of whatever contract their player clients end up getting. And so, for Dylan Larkin to head over to an agency that is so experienced with getting these big money deals, it makes a lot of sense to me to look at Larkin and say, okay, this guy has been a heart and soul Red Wing. He has been one of the better Red Wings over the past few years, arguably the most impactful Red Wings this side of the 2010s, and a guy that's going to probably be getting the most amount of money he'll ever get on a contract this upcoming summer. So, it's no surprise that he wants to go out there with agents that know how to get him the big deals. And you could see why this isn't really a big deal to me, right? Like, we make videos about random stuff in the NHL, yes, but we don't usually make videos about players changing agents. However, the reason we're talking about this today is because we had ourselves a statement released by Kurt Overhart. He is the CEO of KO Sports, the agency which formerly represented Dylan Larkin, and their statement was posted on Twitter today by Max Bultman. It's a very interesting one to go ahead and read. Here it is, the statement from KO Sports Incorporated founder and CEO Kurt Overhart, May 26, 2022. From a relationship standpoint, Dylan Larkin worked primarily with my business partner, Joe Oliver. Throughout the past 11 years, Joe has thoughtfully guided Dylan through countless matters both on and off the ice. There was never a single issue raised between Dylan and Joe for the entirety of their professional relationship, and Joe was completely blindsided by his decision to leave our agency and go to another agency instead. For the past several months, Joe had been working directly with Dylan in preparation to negotiate his contract extension with the Red Wings. As with all of our clients, our work on behalf of Dylan was at the highest standard in all situations. We are very disappointed in his decision and the timing. Is this not something that you don't see every day? You see NHL players leave agencies and hire new ones, go from one agency to the other all the time. But you never see this, where the prior agency of a player ends up calling the guy out and saying, hey, this caught us off guard. What the heck are you doing, Dylan? We've had a professional relationship the past 11 years and it's been fine. We're so disappointed in you by leaving our organization and going to another agency. You never see something like this, where the agency comes out there and expresses their displeasure with their client leaving. I don't want to try to put words in anybody's mouth, but maybe these guys over here at KO Agency were just kind of excited to get this guy a huge payday and potentially get a good chunk of that pie as well. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't look like Dylan Larkin will be able to get that pie for KO, as instead he's going to be represented by the other guys. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, doesn't Kurt Overhart also have some pretty good contracts under his belt as well? And yeah, that's true. He's got Ryan Johansson at $8 million, Jacob Trouba's making $8 million, Ryan Kessler, 6.8, but of course Kessler is in a different kind of boat here. John Gibson, 6.4, obviously had the former Dylan Larkin contract. And as a result, you have a total of $93 million of a total AAV of active contracts for Kurt Overhart. It's just for CAA and their folks, I mean, they've got $198 million instead. So, for Dylan Larkin, it kind of goes back to the same argument of him potentially saying, okay, I kind of just want to get the bag. I've been playing on Detroit my whole career, we haven't been a great team, we're finally starting to go on the up and up, but, you know, it's been a long time, and this is probably going to be the best contract I'll ever sign in my career, so I want to make it a good one. Why not go with the best in the business to represent me in those negotiations? It makes a lot of sense, personally. It's just very funny to me to see that the KO sports guys are going out there and saying, you know, we're disappointed in you, Dylan. We had a great relationship. This is so blindsiding. This article on ProHockeyRumors.com kind of says similar things about the contracts, the other players that are under CAA, and how those guys have all gotten $10+ million. Maybe Larkin can get himself the maximum profit by being represented by these guys. You also have this sentence in the article as well. For what it's worth, which may be nothing, Brisson currently has just one client with the Red Wings, Jared McIsaac, and none with Yzerman's former outfit in Tampa Bay. So maybe there's some sort of idea that says that the CAA folks also want to get some Red Wings contracts under their books, because you can see the breakdown of teams that they represent. There's a lot of Chicago, a lot of Colorado, Vancouver, Anaheim, LA, but when it comes to Detroit, there's only one. It is that Jared McIsaac, and there's none in Tampa Bay either. It's going to be really interesting to see the contract negotiations go down, firstly, between CAA and the Red Wings, but secondly, between the specifics of Pat Brisson and Steve Yzerman, too. Yzerman has done a pretty good job when it comes to negotiating contracts and signing guys to money amounts that a lot of the fans are going out there and saying, yeah, that's a good number right there. But when it comes to Dylan Larkin, this is probably the most important player Steve Yzerman is going to have to re-sign as a member of the Red Wings so far. There hasn't been a more important contract negotiation, so I can understand why Dylan Larkin wants to be represented by the best. So, talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about the Larkin changing agency thing. Like, again, I can't believe we made an entire video about this, but this really isn't that big of a deal. It just became a big deal when his former agency went out there and said, yeah, no, this is a really bad thing. Shame on you, Dylan. Like, you never see that. It's so strange to see the agency go out there and call their former client out in public. You talk about having a professional relationship. This is like the least professional thing that you can go ahead and do. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Dylan Larkin, and also talk to me in the comments as well. How much do you think Larkin is going to get on his next contract? I don't think it's any mystery to say that he will be re-signed by the Red Wings, and he will return to the winged wheel for 2023, 2024, and beyond. So talk to me in the comments. What do you think that contract dollar amount is going to be worth? What do you want it to be worth? How long do you think it's going to go for as well? Do you think Larkin ends up staying with the Wings till he's 30, 31, 32? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed this British 99, and bye.